Hey everybody, this is Nine with the B-Side. We're really happy to bring you an interview with Dick Lucas from Subhumans. They played at the Rebel Lounge in Phoenix with some really great opening acts. There were the Love Songs, kind of a weird name for the band. Even they say it probably is the worst name they could have chosen. But a great band, and also Neighborhood Brats, who were spectacular, very much like in early days. No Doubt, lead singer, really high energy, just like Gwen Stefani jumping all around the stage in the more ska days of No Doubt. So check them out as well, and we'll have links to their pages here. But I hope you really enjoy this interview with Dick Lucas. He's one of the more intelligent people working in music, and definitely earns his reputation for the hardest working guy in punk. Enjoy, everybody. Bye bye. Dick Lucas, thank you very much for being on the B-Side. We appreciate you taking time to be with us. I love the new album. We were listening to it on the way up. It seems not only contemporarily vital to what's going on right now, but also harkens back to your first album with sort of the warning signs that punk was talking about way back in the 70s and 80s. Tell us how that carries on for you for so much of your work, Citizen Fish and
well, it carries on because basically the world doesn't actually change that much. It has shades of doom and gloom and oppression and war, and it peaks and recedes every now and again with leaders who are seen to be a step up in the leadership race to actually be more human than the last one. Obama did it for a while. Tony Blair did it for a while, led a sort of a hopeful idea that here was somebody with a conscience leading the country, and of course it went downhill for us with the Tories getting back in power, and David Cameron, and then Theresa May, and now Boris Johnson. We're sinking into the pit. And over here you have the George Bush, not once but twice, and we thought that was the bottom, and it's gone further down since then. Okay, we had Obama, that was a rise up. It was like, what? Black president? Far out. Okay, things are changing. We've reached 21st century, open-minded. This is like inclusive, non-exclusive, and
we ended the don't ask, don't tell, like sort of bringing everybody in. LGBTQ community opened up. Women's rights seem to be on the rise. Inclusivity of women.
Despite the two worst leaders either of our countries have ever known, with the worst behaviour ever. People's rights and the environment and the amount of protests going on, the amount of youthful protests going on, is significantly more and more noticeable and more reported in the press than it's ever been. So it's almost like the Newtonian balance thing. The worse things get, the better things get at the opposite end. The more angry people get, the more vociferous, the more they work out. Really, we have to start changing things by working together. That's kind of only going to happen when things politically and socially and environmentally get so bad at the other end of the scale. It's like a balance thing. You get someone like Tony Blair in, and it's like, there's protesters, whatever. Then the Gulf War sets in and suddenly increase on both ends of the scale again. It's like, what, we're going into a war shouldn't even be happening, and we didn't get a vote about it, and da-da-da. So at the moment we're at a point where the horrors of our leadership and the environmental waste this planet is becoming almost daily news in the mainstream media, let alone the alternative media. So that is a good thing because it's making more people aware of a very bad thing at the same time. This crisis point is just a general title for the fact that most people, I imagine, who are aware of what is going on, do feel we're in a sense of crisis, or from the personal to the political to the global, on all scales really. People are worried about the actual whole planet. They're worried about riots and war, and they're worried about what they're going to say to their actual neighbours about what they feel about Trump or about Brexit or about whatever the situation is, and these are current situations.
And it's hostile conversations that are going on right now. I mean,
even at the same time, or no conversations through fear of upsetting people so easily, because people are led by emotions. That's what these leaders do. They're not going by the rules. They're breaking up the rules. Anarchists should be going, yeah, brilliant. We've got like non-politicians leading the country and breaking all the rules. But of course, it doesn't work like that.
Right.
Because they're breaking all the rules, but they're breaking the rules that were set to keep politicians at least accountable to the people, or at least to the governments or whatever. So they're throwing away all accountability, and they don't care. Because one thing about the system is like cops and politicians like never go to jail. Like maybe the rare one goes to jail when it's like point blank murder and it was filmed by more than one TV company. Then a cop might go to jail and then get time off for good behavior.
And now Trump's attorney actually, in one of the appellate courts the other day, used his argument that he could shoot somebody in the street and get away with it as their actual argument before the court. The court asked him, so are you using the shoot somebody in the face argument that the president cannot be touched? And his lawyer said, yes, I absolutely am.
Wow. See, that's how twisted it's got. And it's not in a cartoon, it's not in a satire.
No.
It's happening. Wow. It's bizarre.
It is beyond Orwellian.
Right. Well, it's a moral crisis. It's a crisis of value systems collapsing. It's easy to say values, yeah, whatever, but essential values of kindness, goodness to other people are just being eroded by our leaders and the vast amount of people who are emotionally led into thinking our leaders can't do anything wrong if they're acting all real aggressive against the notion of leadership and things, against the notion of past spheres of leaders, past behaviour by leaders, and so on, like Trump is doing, and Boris Johnson is doing as well. People like that rebellious streak, even though it's going to lead to their unemployment and economic suicide for both countries. And anyway, that's set the scene, I guess. So back in 1984, or previous to 1984, sort of guided by the essence of George Orwell's book, it was like, wow, we're all becoming aware. There's a great big likelihood that our phones might be tapped, and you think your phones might be, and people say, well, that's paranoia. They're not being tapped because, why would they want to do that? We trust the government was the basic feeling. In the 70s and 80s, the government were trusted by most people, apart from the occasional war that broke out, and even that didn't put some people off the nature of government. But like things like your phones are being hacked or you're being watched or whatever, didn't really bear any weight to most people except the most paranoid or thoughtful, depends how you look at it. And then, what was it, Ceausescu in Romania, he fell and it was revealed that he had set up a whole system of CCTV cameras across the whole state to watch his people. It's like, whoa, here we are, 1984, here it is. This was like 1988 or 89 or something. And it's like, oh my God, we could never do that in a democracy. And 5 years later, it's starting to happen. 10 years later, it's everywhere. Yeah, we're all being watched. But for our security, yeah, sure, great. I felt quite secure before I was being watched. Now I feel quite insecure in case anything I do quite innocently might be taken to be a criminal offence of any sort whatsoever.
I heard a statistical fact that there's for every 13 people in the UK, there's one CC camera.
That's probably true. Yeah.
An incredible amount of, and then we're doing it to ourselves, right? With our cell phones too. We're recording what's going on in our environment.
Oh, I know. This is
who we're talking to.
The great irony is not everybody, but a lot of people just want to be on Facebook and social media saying, look at me, this is what I ate this morning, this is what I'm wearing today, this is what I did to my hair 5 minutes ago. And it's like, we're doing the government's job for them. Yeah. It's like, anything they want to know about us, they don't really give a damn about our haircuts. But if we start saying, yeah, I saw this great gig by this band who da-da-da, or I went to this demonstration or this march, or what about this group? And they think they're like, blah, blah, blah. Politically, this could happen, or just outright protest people. And we don't know. We can take a guess, actually. We could fear the machinations of government writing down all this information about people and like getting compiled files to like eventually come out and arrest all the wrongdoers from what they've been saying and what groups they've been joining. But face it, politicians are human beings and most of them are very inefficient at what they're supposed to do, let alone what they might do if they were really Machiavellian about doing politics. They might want to have details about all of us and all that, but I think they're just way too busy to do that, too lazy to do that. They're just in it for power and money. Shouldn't get too complacent, but let's not get too fucking fearful of politicians and what they might be able to do with all that detail that's out there. Facebook is hoarding all our details. They sell it off to companies. They put the adverts out. The adverts might swing our voting intention, and Trump might get in. So it can have an effect. It's not useless, this data trawling, but it's totally wrong, and that's where we stand firm. There's no leeway in this. It's either right or wrong. Everything's either right or wrong. It's not always just your own opinion. It's just, that's what I'm talking about, the moral value system thing. It comes down to right or wrong in the gut feeling of, say, an 8-year-old child who doesn't know the circumstances. Do you think it's right to spy on other people? Well, not unless they have allowed it, you know. Simple stuff like that. Things are right or wrong. So the country, the world, whatever, all the right and wrong lines are becoming really blurred.
So you're 10 years and 4 days my senior.
Oh, that's very precisely calculated.
Have
you been watching me?
I saw somewhere that your birthday was February 21st and mine's the 25th.
Pisces punks.
Pisces punks. So you started out very, very young. What was gave you your moral code as a youngster? What is it that turned you on to your right and wrong?
Wow.
And
simple questions first.
Well, I mean, you're for me, I kind of felt like I was being brought along on a ride by an older cousin or something when I was listening to your music, because you were just that much enough older than I was that I was hearing your music as a young kid, and your lyrics were so much different than a lot of punk bands, that they seemed deeper and, I'm not trying to put your ass here, but more intelligent than a lot of the bands were very more well informed and well read, maybe. What is it that gave you that as a youth?
I wasn't really much well read. You know, I have read books. I wasn't really studying poetry, but I do like writing, and I do like taking an angle on something and just going from there with the pen in hand and see where it leads to. And there's a lot of things I've written that are never going to be songs, so you take something that's good and work on it. But where did my moral values come from? I don't know. Possibly because I went to boarding school. It was an all-male boarding school. You're taken away from your parents for like the majority of the year, apart from like holidays, and you're surrounded by a load of boys and with no girls there. If there had been girls there, it might have been different on one angle especially. And but the fact is, I soon learned about hierarchies and the way people divide themselves up, form themselves into little social groups, and
sort of that
no doubt happens to all teenagers who don't go to boarding school. But the thing is, at boarding school, you are in the same bedroom. You're eating up all your meals during the day with these people. You're living with these people. It's not just you go to school, you come back.
Yeah.
There's no divide for like several months at a time.
Yeah.
So you learn how to defend yourself, or you don't learn that defending yourself is what you've got to do to get on with people. You learn that bullies get all the kudos. People who do sports get all the kudos. People with intelligence are called wimps or nerds. So you're put down for being intelligent. So you start to hide your intelligence. Some people start to act stupid just to get along with people. Things like this carry on. So I was getting this sort of inbuilt psychological, philosophical outlook on living way earlier than is necessary, really. I would have thought. And I didn't have a great time out there. I had friends, and there was good times. There was rebellious moments that were fun. And but the people I hung around with were oddly the people who would do my head in the most, in a strange way. I tried to get on with the people who were hassling me most, or taking a piss or whatever. You know, I was too sensitive. No, you can't be too sensitive. For the situation, I was oversensitive. And so it was like a love, hate, fear, want to get on thing that completely failed. So once I was out of there, I knew all that. It was like, don't hang around with assholes and be yourself. When I was released from boarding school, I didn't know anybody at the age of 18 in my local area, so I would just go to local discos and they'd have their 10 minutes of punk rock records in the middle, and all these punks would come up, we'd all bounce around into each other for 10 minutes, and you'd make friends and they'd know you not based on anything you'd ever previously been up to that point. There's a freedom in that that was almost worth the odd years at boarding school. So that's that's back to the question. The value system thing was inbuilt through teenage years, greatly helped by the emergence of punk rock at my age of 16. So that's when you really start thinking for yourself if you weren't already. And when that came along, it was like, brilliant, fuck all this lot. This music is giving me way more than my so-called friends.
Yeah.
This whole institution thing around me is like being attacked from the outside by people I don't know, using music and lyrics, just Johnny Rotten going, no, fuck, and it's just like, yeah, and we don't care. And it's like, thank you, don't care, brilliant. Suddenly I was able to not care so much and just felt way freer. And so I totally latched into punk rock. Then I started writing lyrics, and then Crash came along and greatly pushed me towards thinking much more seriously about stuff like the system. I didn't know there was a system, and when it's the school, army, church, a corporation deal, the fucked up reality based on fear, a fucking conspiracy to stop you feeling real. It's like, wow. And I thought, what's a corporation deal? I thought, well, think about it. Corporations, that's big business in it, yeah, and a deal. Okay, so that must, and you just boom, just like whole bunch, not just those lyrics, but that is a summation, writing that 4 or 8 line verse of Banned from the Roxy. Really hit the nail on the head that like punk wasn't and should be way more political than it sort of pretended to be. Like anarchy in the UK, yeah, whatever. But this was like, think about it, these are the rules we're attacking, and some nature of anarchy might be involved in that.
I had a similar experience. Mine was with the Poison Girls.
Right.
And when I was talking about the system that turns my children into weapons.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is she talking about? Corporations. And then I actually started looking into it and found out at some point the Supreme Court decided that business was a person, and that's what the corporate came from that. I'm like, how can a business be a person and have rights but have no responsibility?
Right.
And so yeah, Crass and
it's the
Poison
question.
Girls
It's the questioning
turned
of things that turns things around.
Yeah.
Once you start questioning things, you're less likely to get sucked into stuff.
What's turning you on music-wise right now? What bands are new bands, old bands? What's going on for you?
Well, Neighbourhood Brats are good.
Yeah.
I mean, we get sent several links to several tunes by several bands who want to come on tour with us when we come over here, and Neighbourhood Brats just fitted quite a lot of slots, whatever the word is, in my head. It's just like tuneful, meaningful, not assholes. If there's a bracket for that, you know.
Absolutely.
I mean, there's just some bands just are way too much on the edge of being macho about their brutishness. That area, I don't really get.
It becomes
into
work
that.
to have them work with you. I think I know what you mean.
I just think punk rock should be more happy than that, even though it's angry. It should be more fun with it, rather than.
Is it where the ska kicked in for you? Was
the ska kicked in as there's like a subliminal event going on in the background. You know, like Too Much Pressure, and the Selector and the Specials were playing in the background to the Jam and the Clash and the Adverts and the Vibrators, and it was like, you're young, it's like mods, punks, never the two shall meet, but they just happen to be in the same room with all this ska's going on in the background, so it's working its way in, and you like it, but you never admit it because you're young and you're defiant and you're a punk rocker and nothing else, and don't you dare call me a mod, yada yada yada. And then years later it's just like, yeah, right, let's fucking do a bit of ska music. Well, basically Nigel and Paul, his mate up from Cornwall, invented what became Culture Shock when Subhumans stopped in 1986, and said, you ought to do some singing. It's just like singing to this ska reggae music, and suddenly the whole world of singing was not 4, but they fit words in all this space. That totally opened like that. But yeah, I think I'd always liked it on a very subliminal, subconscious way, and then when you actually get to sing to it and dance around with it, well in for it. Yeah.
Do you find music helps you emotionally deal with the stuff that's going on in the world, like a catharsis on stage?
Oh, totally.
Because man, I gotta you're like one of the hardest working people on stage I've ever seen. I couldn't believe how many shows you did at Rebellion Festival this year. I would have dropped dead after the first show seeing you, but You did like three
Yeah.
sets that?
Yeah. But that's okay. If you do a set and you haven't got a show the next day, you're going to get completely wasted. And then the next day you're going to feel like, oh, that was good fun, wasn't it? But if you've got a show coming up feeling like that, it's not going to be any good. So it stops you going overboard. Like, show done, yeah, I have all these drinks and whatever.
Right.
So don't do that anymore, just a few drinks instead. And that's not the only reason. I just like doing it. It's the only exercise I get. And it's almost like 90% of my social life is like meeting people and chatting to them at shows. Especially Rebellion, which is like 4-day long chat fest.
Yeah.
With like bands going on that you keep missing because you've been blah, blah, blah.
Right. I heard a great. I'll leave you this with it. I heard a great compliment of you. The lead singer of one of the other bands was chatting to some people, and you had just gone to go and see. She's like, you got to go see Dick do this show. Dick's the real Dick. And someone said, yeah, he walks the walk. I saw him out buying his own groceries today and buying all organic food, and you know what I mean. Like you had a lot of respect within the community. And
For buying my own groceries.
Well,
I'll take it, and I'll take any respect wherever it comes from.
Not just for that, but for
yeah.
leading the life that you talk about, and not
right,
and not saying one thing and then doing the other.
Well, this is punk rock is for ordinary people to do. Really, you don't have any real special qualities to be into and perform in and write songs for punk rock bands. The whole thing about punk rock, it was just shredded all that rock and roll hero worship, hero behaviour, all that posing and bullshit coming off of stages before punk rock. It was just all dress up, meaningless brain fodder for people who needed something to escape into, but didn't give them anything back except a hole in their pocket and fleeting excitement. Now, that's not true. Some people just probably love it, but I didn't, and I still don't. But I think punk rock has supplied a unity of feeling between anyone who ever felt alienated by society or just like on their own, were brought together by the nature of punk rock being anyone can do this. It's like, yes, and a lot of people, alienated kids like I was, just did actually do it. And that process still happens. I know, because people tell me so.
Yeah.
And the other point is, people say, oh, thanks for the inspiration, I really do feel that all I've done, like, happened to me, it just carried on down the chain. It's like music opens up things that are already in people's heads.
Yeah.
It's already there. It just needs waking up. It's not the responsibility or the talent of somebody outside yourself that's made you like that. All it done is just turn the key somewhere, something's kind of like a box has come open in your head, and thoughts have coagulated and risen up and say, yes, he or she is right when they say this. You agree with it, I agree with it, whatever. Take it one step further, and one step further you carry on long enough and lucky enough to make records or write things down or say stuff that gets heard by other people, carries on the influential process of the chain effect. Mm-hmm. And that's how influence works and inspiration works and that sort of thing. But don't lay all the credit for it at the person you heard it from. Give yourself more credit for your own thoughts and getting them down on paper or down a microphone, however you want to do it. But creativity is a universal thing, and it only flows by people doing it and sharing it. And I love it, the way it works.
That's a great way to go out. Dick Lucas,
right.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Looking forward to the show tonight.
Thank you. Cheers.